I can see the number of infidelities floating above everyone's head. For 6 years of marriage, Silas's number had always been 0. He had an emotional obsession with cleanliness, and I was the only one for him. He would even lose everything to find a suitable heart donor from my little brother Finn. In the office, Silas used professional tools to pierce a lip ring for his secretary Lila.
Does Mr. Silas do this to his wife at home too?
Silas's movements turned rough.
You're a slut, but my wife is not. You can mess around with me all you want, but if you dare show up in front of my wife, I'll make you wish you were dead.
Looking at the number 1 above Silas's head, I laughed at myself bitterly. At the same time, I dialed the hospital's number. My heart is a match for my brother Finn's. Prepare for the surgery. But I'll come to you in 7 days. Secretary Lila half lay on the sofa, lifting her long legs. One by one, her high heels unbuttoned Silas's shirt. Silas looked utterly enjoying himself, yet his movements were extremely rough. When the last hole was pierced, Lila refused to let Silas put on the silver ring no matter what. Silas was not a man with a good temper. His face darkened little by little. Lila was not afraid. Instead, she tugged at Silas's collar.
Unless you put it on me with your mouth.
Her fingertips lingered around Silas's lips. With just a few moves, she drove Silas wild with desire.
You really are a slut.
Silas squeezed Lila's neck fiercely, but he did not refuse her request. 5 finger marks appeared on her pale neck. The silver ring with a faint glow was finally put on. I clearly saw the number 0 above Silas's head shatter. It turned into 1. I took a deep breath, trying to leave, but my body was stiff. I couldn't move at all. The phone in my hand vibrated slightly, and the tremor spread through my whole body. I looked down at my phone. It was a notice that my heart was a match for my brother Finn's. I turned and left, the sounds in the corridor growing louder. I called Julian. Prepare for the surgery.
Trust Silas. He'll find a suitable heart.
But I have a ready one here, don't I?
Alara, you're crazy.
If you won't do it, I'll go to another hospital. We stayed on the line, but neither of us spoke. Finally, a trembling okay came out of Julian's mouth.
The surgery is scheduled in 7 days. Tell me immediately if you change your mind.
Okay. Julian and I were childhood sweethearts, and he was the only one I trusted in this city.
Where are you? It's so loud. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Does Silas know?
I looked back at the room, then fell silent. I don't think so.
You're really crazy. What on earth are you doing?
It's nothing. See you in 7 days. I ignored Julian's frantic words and hung up the phone directly. I went downstairs and looked for my car in the parking lot when I ran into Silas's assistant Zane.
Madam, W, what are you doing here? D, do you want to go up? Mr. Silas is in a meeting. He'll be very busy today.
My hand froze on the car door handle. I hadn't said a word, yet he already looked like he'd been caught red-handed. It was ridiculous to think about it now. It seemed that everyone except me knew about Silas and that little secretary Lila. It's nothing. I smiled slightly. Then please thank Zane for passing a message to your Mr. Silas for me. I've found a heart donor for my brother Finn, so he doesn't need to bother anymore. Assistant Zane smiled happily.
Really? That's wonderful. Congratulations, madam. I'll definitely pass the message on.
I nodded, turned around, and got in the car to leave. I was absent-minded on the road and almost crashed. So, what were my 6 years worth? Did he not love me? But everyone could see clearly for those 6 years. Silas loved me desperately, yet he cheated on me, too. Our love couldn't survive the 7-year itch after all. This absurd and wasted marriage should come to an end. I didn't go home. Instead, I drove to the hospital. Hello, I have an appointment for an abortion at 3 o'clock.
Name.
Alara.
Go to consulting room 3 to pay the fee.
Okay. Even lying on the operating table, I was still daydreaming. The happy life of our family of 3. But Silas, you broke your promise. The next time I saw Silas was the next night. Even though I was prepared, I froze when I saw the number 6 above his head. I looked down and laughed absurdly, propping my forehead with one hand. afraid he would see my red eyes.
What's wrong, honey? Miss me?
Silas picked me up and carried me to the sofa.
I don't know if you missed me, but I missed you.
His palm wrapped around my small hand. A scalding temperature came from his palm. I pulled away subconsciously and stood up to break free from his embrace. But the next second, he hugged me again.
Zane said you came to see me? I've been too busy these days. I didn't mean to ignore you. Did you find a heart donor?
Silas kissed the top of my head.
Good girl.
I broke free quickly. After several tugs, I felt extremely weak. Lying on the bed, Silas came up after taking a shower. He still had moisture on his body. He held me tight from behind, his warm palm covering my lower abdomen.
When the baby is born and Finn is better, I'll take you all to live abroad.
I also touched my lower abdomen subconsciously. A dull pain came from my lower abdomen from time to time. This was where our baby once was. As for us, there was no future. It was hard for me to get pregnant, and we'd waited 6 years for this child. I never thought we'd finally have it. But it was when his father had found a new lover. Silas held me all night and never let go. His big hand stayed on my belly the whole time. Even in the morning, he kissed my lower abdomen. If it weren't for the bright red number above his head, I would have thought that day was just a figment of my imagination. Silas noticed I was in a bad mood and stayed with me for 2 days on purpose. But during those 2 days, he kept replying to messages now and then. As soon as I got a little closer, he would calmly switch the screen.
Honey, there's a company celebration dinner tonight. I have to go.
Can I come with you? Silas was getting dressed and froze when he heard me.
Don't be silly. Everyone will be drinking and smoking. It's not good for you with the baby.
He came over and hugged me.
I promise I'll be back early, okay?
I didn't speak, just looked at him blankly. In the end, he gave in. There weren't many people at the celebration dinner. Everyone greeted me warmly when they saw me. I also met that little secretary Lila. She was wearing a sharp red hip-hugging dress. She introduced everyone present to me generously. Everything was different from what I'd imagined. This celebration dinner seemed as normal as could be. I just felt bored and went out for some fresh air. I sat on a dark bench, and soon someone walked into the pavilion not far away. It was my husband and his little secretary, Leela.
How dare you call Alara by her name? Let me tell you, she's my wife. The woman I love most in my life. If you let her find out even a little bit, I won't hesitate to kill you.
Silas pushed Lila against the table in the pavilion. I couldn't see his eyes clearly, but from his tone, he was really angry.
You can mess around all you want back at the company, but you better behave yourself in front of my wife. Don't have any evil thoughts. I don't want to make my wife sad.
Neither of them noticed me in the dark corner. Soon, the two of them left. Lila even got slapped, but she still followed him coquettishly. I walked around for a while longer before going back, only to find that neither of them had returned. Where's Silas? Assistant Zane looked around and saw that only Silas and Lila were missing from the table. He panicked instantly.
The partner just called. Mr. Silas must be answering the phone. I'll go check for you right now.
I grabbed Assistant Zane. Forget it. Sit down and eat. Assistant Zane didn't dare to disobey. Everyone knew I was Silas's weakness. I used to be, and I still was. Assistant Zane hurriedly tapped his phone to tip Silas off. Sure enough, Silas came back in 3 to 5 minutes. Unsurprisingly, the number above his head changed from 6 to 7. And the person who came in behind him looked no different from before. But the hem of her skirt was torn. I looked down and felt like I could barely breathe.
Honey, what's wrong? Not happy? Shall we go home?
Where did you go?
I just answered a call from a partner.
I looked down and said nothing, picking up my chopsticks to continue eating. Silas didn't dare speak. He took 2 sips of wine and started picking food for me. A stolen fish can't help but stir even at the dinner table. When the dinner ended, there were still a few shoe prints on Silas's suit pants. High-heeled shoe prints. He thought I didn't see and quickly brushed them off behind me. I turned around and he smiled at me.
Honey.
He suddenly stopped, and Lila behind him bumped straight into his back. She groaned in pain.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Silas. I'm sorry, madam.
Lila brushed at Silas's clothes in a panic. But just those few brushing movements made Silas react strangely. Silas hurried to my side and almost fled with me. As soon as we got home, he rushed straight into the bathroom. He was in such a hurry that he even forgot to lock his phone. His little secretary Lila sent message after message. Your wife is pregnant, so I'll have to take care of you for her lately. Then she sent several photos, one after another. The explicitness of the photos shocked me. I put the phone back as if nothing had happened. Julian also sent me a message. Julian, you need to come to the hospital for a checkup tomorrow. I replied and leaned against the bedside, watching Silas come out drying his hair. He looked down at his phone and swallowed unconsciously. Then he went back into the bathroom. We'd had an enviable marriage for 6 years. And Silas tore this marriage apart in just 6 days. Looking at the organ donation form Julian sent, I clicked confirm without hesitation. Silas approached me with a chill all over his body.
What organ donation?
I locked my phone. Fins. I looked up, expecting him to ask anxiously. After all, my name was written in big letters on it. Unexpectedly, his mind was not on me at all. He had already rolled over to the other side of the bed, looking down at his phone. He said perfunctorily, "Good. It's best we found a donor. I'll arrange the surgery as soon as possible." In the middle of the night, I was woken up by faint, rustling sounds. I was a very light sleeper. I reached back subconsciously and quickly tried to pull my hand back. I found I was grabbing at empty air. When I turned around, I saw Silas was gone. There was a figure on the balcony, speaking in a low voice.
My wife is having a hard time with the pregnancy. You'll resign after the baby is born. In my eyes? In my eyes, you're not even as good as a dog.
I was so upset that I couldn't even pretend to sleep anymore. I sat up and poured a glass of water. I had just sat down when I ran into Silas coming back. When he saw me, his pupils shrank sharply. His hands started flailing unconsciously. He looked absolutely terrified.
Honey. When did you?
Just now. Seeing that I showed no other emotion, Silas relaxed. He snatched the water glass from my hand and poured me water on his own initiative. As I drank, he gently hugged me from behind. I was afraid of choking and didn't struggle. There was only one piece of clothing between us, and the beating of his heart transmitted through my back. Silas kissed the top of my head as if nothing had changed. But the bright red number of infidelities above his head was particularly striking. Silas looked like he wanted to say something, but I went back to the master bedroom first. He patted my back gently as usual, coaxing me to sleep. But it was another sleepless night. We'd planned to go to the hospital together the next day. I don't know if the woman outside caused trouble. Silas left me behind and left. But it didn't matter. The hospital was filled with the smell of disinfectant. Mixed with a faint smell of blood, it drifted into my nose.
What are you doing this for? You know full well that with Silas's current wealth, finding a matching heart is only a matter of time. Why can't you talk about it openly?
Julian rambled on. I looked out the window with a blank stare.
I remember the pear tree outside the door. You took good care of it for a long time. Why did it die? How should I know? It was fine for years, but its leaves suddenly turned yellow these days.
He looked at me again and threw down his pen.
Did you hear what I said?
I looked down at the various data sheets in my hand. All the indicators are up to standard, right? I'll sign here if there's no problem. I snatched the pen from Julian's hand. He pressed my hand down. I looked up and met his tired eyes.
No matter how expensive and good a tree is, it's hard to bear fruit if the climate isn't right.
I signed my name, and the clinic door was pushed open. Silas walked in. He looked happy.
What are you talking about? Hard to bear what fruit?
As Julian also looked at the tree outside the window, squinting.
Just you wait. I'll make it bear fruit next year.
Silas also glanced at it.
Why bother planting it? If you love pears so much, just buy some.
I smiled.
Yeah,
Silas put his arm around me, his hand instinctively touching my belly.
how was the prenatal checkup?
I saw Julian's shocked expression from the corner of my eye. When Silas looked at him, he was so scared he couldn't say a word. I linked my arm through Silas's. It's fine. Nothing's wrong. We walked towards the inpatient department. My little brother Finn's condition was not good, and he was awake less and less. He rarely woke up and pulled Silas to play with him for a while. Julian leaned against the doorframe the whole time. I patted Silas on the shoulder, and he gave me a reassuring look. Then I went out with Julian. I knew he definitely wasn't here about Finn's illness. Sure enough, he started with the same old speech.
You've been together for 6 years. Why didn't you tell him about such a big thing? It's so hard for you to get pregnant. You finally waited for this baby.
I leaned against the balcony railing. Silas cheated on me. He replied without hesitation.
Impossible. Stop joking. Everyone knows Silas can't live without you.
My parents passed away when I was young. All these years, besides Finn, Julian was the only friend I had. He'd watched Silas and me grow together too. He even counted on his fingers, telling me all the good things Silas had done one by one. Everyone said Silas loved me more than his own life. He could give up his home, his wealth, even his life. Yeah, I used to have that kind of life. I don't know how it turned out like this. Before I knew it, my eyes were covered in mist. I could barely see clearly. Julian stared at me blankly, his mood gradually panicking. He was afraid I was lying, but even more afraid I was telling the truth.
Him.
I wiped the tears off my face, and Julian stopped asking. He looked at me with a hint of heartache. Then you should live even more, and let him watch. But Finn can't wait much longer. I don't want to gamble. Julian looked at me with a choked voice.
I'll try harder. You wait a little longer too.
He's my only family left. I took a card out of my pocket. The money in here has nothing to do with Silas. I don't know anyone else, so I can only trouble you. When he gets married, give this to him for me, as his sister's wedding gift. Julian was even in our family photo. Just the three of us. Besides him, I didn't know who else to trust. He doesn't have to study well, or live by the rules. Don't restrict him too much. Let him live however he wants. Julian took the card, squeezing it so hard his fingertips turned white. We both seemed to be on the verge of emotional collapse, but neither of us knew how to comfort the other. What are you talking about? Is Finn's condition bad? Silas flipped through his phone, trying to call his assistant. Didn't we find a heart donor? Let's do the surgery early. The card in Julian's hand fell to the ground. He quickly squatted down to pick it up and looked up at Silas.
Finn's doing great. No rush.
Silas didn't expect Julian to react so strongly. He looked at me beside him again. His eyes darted between the two of us. You two, are you hiding something from me? Silas held my face in his hands, his eyes gentle and tender.
Don't be afraid. I'm here. Finn will be fine.
I nodded. I want to go to the cemetery. I'll come with you. I took 2 steps, and Julian chased after me from behind. I'll come too. Silas glanced at him and said nothing. I sat in the passenger seat the whole time, staring out the window without saying a word. Silas's phone was placed on the stand between us. It lit up with new messages every now and then. I turned around to grab the water bottle in the middle, and Silas hurriedly protected his phone. He almost ran a red light. He slammed on the brakes, holding his phone awkwardly as we looked at each other. He forced a laugh. Let me see, who's messaging? I ignored him, unscrewed the bottle, and took half a sip. Who is it? I never ask things like this. Or rather, Silas had never been like this before. He looked at me in surprise. Then he joked gently.
Checking up on me. Here.
He held his phone out to me, glancing nervously at the red light above. When I took it, he didn't look nervous at all. The light turned green, and Silas drove on as if nothing had happened. I tried 3 times before I realized. There was no calm composure at all. He'd just changed his phone password. Julian in the back suddenly leaned forward, and snatched the phone from my hand. The messages were still flashing, and Julian smiled and handed it to Silas.
No password for a checkup.
There wasn't a single flaw in the smile on Silas's lips. He took the phone and stuffed it straight into his clothes.
My wife definitely knows the password. Why are you meddling?
Julian was about to say something, but I interrupted him in time. Julian, look at that cat. It had a good life, but ran away, got all dirty, and lost one eye. Silas also looked.
How do you know it ran away?
Because it's wearing a collar. I smiled and twisted the ring on my ring finger, looking thoughtfully at the ring mark on Silas's hand.
How long have you taken off your ring?
I took it off to cook for you, you glutton, and forgot to put it back on this morning. But I hadn't seen that ring in a week. He turned his head.
What? Are you mad?
I shook my head.
Number. Pull over here, we're here.
I hurried to escape this oppressive space. 6 years of enviable love. Now, I didn't know how to face Silas at all. I touched my mother's tombstone. Mom, this might be the last time I come to see you. I put my hands together, closed my eyes, and said a lot to my mother. A pair of hands suddenly wrapped around my waist, holding me tight.
What little secret do you have to tell Mom secretly?
I opened my eyes. Silas placed the flowers in his hand in front of my mother's tombstone. Then he went to toast my father.
Mom and Dad, don't worry. I'll never let Alara suffer the slightest grievance with me.
We found a heart donor for Finn, and the surgery will be soon. After the surgery, I'll definitely bring him to see you.
Besides, Alara and I are having a baby.
Silas turned around happily, his eyes fixed on my lower abdomen. But the baby was already gone. Everything Silas said was a lie. Julian stood far away watching us, facing the sun, silent. That night, I slept a rare good night's sleep. But I was woken up by my phone vibrating in the middle of the night. It was a message from Julian. Finn's condition was extremely critical. He needed emergency surgery. In the past, I would have panicked, scared, and anxious. Only this time, I was surprisingly calm. I even changed into a new set of clothes. When I left, I stood motionless by the bed. Silas was sound asleep. I realized that after coming this far, there were no grudges or hard feelings left. At least for those 6 years, we were envied by everyone. At least until I die, I have nothing to feel guilty about towards him. When I got to the hospital, Julian had just stepped off the operating table. His lab coat was still stained with blood. His eyes were red, and he hugged me, crying so hard he shook.
Alara.
He held me so tight, he almost broke my bones.
You went to the cemetery with me yesterday. You didn't plan this for me, did you?
He gritted his teeth, meaning the opposite of what he said. No. I smiled and patted his shoulder. I have to trouble you again.
Alara.
I thought I was strong, but seeing him like this, my tear ducts burst. Take good care of my brother.
I definitely will.
Julian held my face in his hands, not caring about being too close between a man and a woman at this moment.
Let me look at you one more time.
Tears streamed down his face one by one.
You know this surgery might not succeed. There's a chance
I interrupted him. I really couldn't listen to these words at this moment.
With you here, there won't be any accidents.
I walked towards the operating room, and Julian let go of my hand after a long time. 50 meters felt like an eternity. I held the door frame as if all my strength had drained away. Julian's heart-wrenching shout came from behind. Alara. I turned around slowly. He leaned against the wall, tears falling heavily. I waved goodbye to him. Lying on the operating table, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. There were no messages on my phone. I looked at the chat box with Silas, typed several times, and deleted them all in the end. I locked my phone and closed my eyes. Everything happened faster than I thought. Before I could finish thinking about my life, I lost consciousness under the anesthetic. In just a few seconds, I was completely unconscious. Finn, big sister loves you. Julian, see you in the next life. Silas. When Silas woke up in the morning, he saw Julian's message. He sat up straight in bed immediately.
Honey, Finn's condition is bad. Finn.
He turned around and found the bed was empty. There wasn't even a trace of warmth. Silas couldn't think straight. He sent voice messages to Julian while getting dressed.
How's the surgery? My phone was on silent for some reason. I'm on my way now. Alara is gone. I'll head over first.
Silas hurried down the stairs and almost fell.
Where's Madam?
I haven't seen her.
Tell Madam to come to the hospital to find me when she gets back.
With that, Silas grabbed his car keys and left. He drove extremely fast the whole way. The car scraped against the roadblock. When he arrived at the hospital, Silas felt something was wrong with Julian today. He looked lifeless. Silas gradually realized something was wrong. He wanted to rush into the ward, but stopped in his tracks. He pulled his outstretched hand back. I'm too late. Silas panicked.
What should I say to Alara?
A nurse trotted in and froze when she saw Silas.
Dr. Julian, Finn has family here. Why did you pay his medical bills?
Julian didn't even look at Silas.
What kind of family is he?
Silas didn't argue back for once.
I'm sorry, I'm late. I'll pay the medical bills and handle the funeral. I'm worried Alara won't be able to take it.
The nurse looked at him confused.
Finn's surgery was a success. What funeral? Just keep observing and taking care of him.
It was a success.
Yeah, didn't Dr. Julian tell you?
Silas rushed straight into the ward. In the room, there was only a pale little boy. Wearing an oxygen mask, he slept weakly. There was no one else. Silas ran out again.
Where's my wife? Didn't she come? Say something.
Silas kicked the wall and started calling again.
Why aren't you answering?
Silas picked up another phone.
Check the surveillance from last night to this morning, see when Madam left.
Silas called his assistant again.
Finn's surgery was a complete success. Buy some gifts and take some cash to visit the donor's family.
Mr. President, the donor was contacted by Madam.
Then go check.
Yes.
Julian, who had been silent, finally moved. He lifted his eyes, full of exhaustion.
No need to look.
Silas turned around and didn't take it seriously. He kept giving instructions to his assistant. Only after hanging up did he walk over.
What do you mean?
Julian picked up a stack of files.
The heart donor is Ilara.
The whole room fell silent, so quiet it was terrifying. After a long time, Silas finally came to his senses.
What did you say?
The next second, Silas grabbed Julian by the collar.
Do you know what you're saying? Julian, are you crazy?
Julian just looked at him coldly, saying nothing. Silas caught something out of the corner of his eye and looked down. On top of the files Julian was holding was Alara's death certificate. Silas touched the photo on it, and the red official seal was still wet, staining his hand. Silas pushed the files away violently. All the files flew out, falling from the air to the corners of the room. Silas's eyes were bloodshot as he grabbed Julian by the tie.
You planned this all along. Did you know she was pregnant?
Did you know she had an abortion in the hospital while you were fooling around with that woman?
Silas completely broke down physically. He leaned against the wall, retching, pressing his head, feeling like it was going to explode. When he stood up straight again, his entire eyeball was covered in bloodshot veins.
Where is she? I want to see her.
She's already buried.
Silas rushed forward again in a rage and punched Julian in the face. The originally dejected man looked like a bloodthirsty monster. Julian licked the corner of his mouth, and his whole mouth was filled with blood when he smiled. Julian grabbed Silas by the collar and pinned him against the wall. 3 elbow strikes landed, and Silas spat out a big mouthful of blood.
Where is she?
Julian had no intention of stopping.
You'll never get to disgust her again in this life.
Where is she?
The two fought violently. Silas had no strength left and was quickly defeated. Julian tried to leave, but Silas grabbed his pant leg.
Please, I'm begging you. Let me see her one more time.
Over my dead body.
Julian wiped his hands and walked out. Silas sat on the ground, coughing violently, blood all over his body. He sat on the ground, unable to stand up even with all his strength. In the end, he laughed through his tears and slapped himself twice. He looked at the photos on his phone and laughed bitterly. Only Silas's roars echoed through the entire floor. When the assistant arrived, Silas was curled up on the ground in a mess.
Mr. President,
Silas looked up.
we found out the donor is.
Get out! Get out!
His little secretary Lila also came with them. Silas stood up on shaking legs.
Mr. Silas.
Silas raised his hand, and Lila was terrified. In the end, Silas slapped himself.
Get out! All of you, get out!
The assistant left immediately, and Lila was so scared she forgot how to walk. Silas grabbed Lila's wrist. Lila jumped, her face turning pale. Silas looked like a murderous god at this moment. His blood-stained hand squeezed Lila's face.
You'd better stay far away and never let me see you again for the rest of your life.
She was scared stupid and couldn't say a word. She just kept nodding. Finally, she fled in a panic. Silas leaned against the outer wall of the ward. He looked at the person in the room with tears in his eyes.
Alara, you really don't want me anymore.
Silas leaned against the wall, his head bowed, tears falling from his eyes. 6 years passed in the blink of an eye, and love is the most complicated thing. A hemp rope can't be twisted tight with just one person's effort.